Hello people, you're welcome to ProUp Masterclass. My name is Tola, T.A. Alabi. And in today's class, I'm going to be talking about 5 types of thinkers, or what I might want to call the 5 levels of thinking. So after this class, I want you to really self-assess and introspect and see where you fall in, what kind of thinker you are, what category of thinking you find yourself engaging in. So really do like a self-audit and think of what kind of thinking you engage in. And as I go through each type of thinking, I'm going to tell you what I feel are the characteristics of this type of thinkers, and I will tell you what the pitfalls of being in this type of thinking might be. So I would like you to listen closely, because everyone would find themselves in one category or the other. And some people might find themselves in categories that kind of overlap, but there will be one that you express the most. And I think the essence of this class is to get people to move up in thinking. Because there are 2 types of knowledge. There's what is called acquired knowledge, and there's what you call inspired knowledge. And the aim is to get everyone to move to inspired knowledge, because inspired knowledge is deeper, it's deeper, it's higher, it's wider, and it's truer, if I can put it that way. So the mission is to get everyone to move to inspired knowledge. And with all these levels of thinking I'm going to touch on, only one enters the realm of inspired knowledge. The other 4 are all in the realm of acquired knowledge. So it's knowledge that you kind of worked for. You work for either by schooling or by deeply thinking or by experience or by practicing. That's how you got this knowledge. Some of them might be inherent, where it's just a natural, it seems to be a natural propensity to the way you think, but you can always move higher. So remember, at the end of this class, self-audit and try to intentionally move to the highest level of thinking, which is inspired. So I'll go right into it. And I will take it in order of how I feel, from what I feel might be the lowest level of thinking to the highest level of thinking. So the order I'm saying it is very important. So you want to note the order. Now, the first level of thinking is smart. So you have the smart thinkers. Those are the first level of thinkers, the first category of thinkers, smart people. Now, smart people are, very simply put, fast thinkers. They're able to think on their feet. They're able to put things together very quickly. They're smart thinkers. And they're very easy to identify in academic environments, in the classroom. A smart thinker is that person who was always the first to put their hand up when the teacher asked the question. And most of the time, they got the answer right. So they were able to solve that equation very fast. They were able to answer that question, whatever question it was, very fast. They're smart. They're smart thinkers. So in the classroom, you can identify them. They're always the first. Sometimes they're the first to finish an exam, to write a paper, they're the first. So to be smart, it's very grounded in being quick. You're quick at thinking. That's what it means to be smart. And outside the classroom, what you see a lot of smart people do is a smart person is that person who is, when you have conversations with them, it's very hard to insult a smart person because they have a quick-witted answer that they can give you back. I remember talking to my wife once, and she was like, she doesn't know how people are able to give comeback remarks to people when they feel insulted. She just doesn't know where they pull it out from. I'm like, they're smart. You go to social media, you see a lot of smart people. Once you put up a comment or a post or stuff like that, they can give you a smart reply and like, how did this person think of this insult so fast? How did they think of this witty reply so fast? So there are a lot of smart people out there. They are very fast on their feet. They are very fast in their response. They are very fast to have the answer. That's what smart thinking. In my opinion, that is like the shallowest form of thinking. You understand? It's very abundant. It's very abundant. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So you get better at being smart in your answers, in your thinking, just by doing it often. Your brain now discovers gaps and shortcuts to do things and to say things and to express things. The shortcoming of being a smart person is a lot of times we use smart to self-protect. And that's why it's very easy for a smart person to express their smartness in insulting and getting back at people. That's why it's very common on social media. You have a lot of smart talkers, you understand? They're smart, they do it to protect themselves. A smart person is the kind of person that is being chased by somebody, in physical, being chased by somebody, and then sees a door. But instead of running through that door, the smart person thinks in just a few minutes or a few seconds to open the door and go and hide behind a chair, so that the person chasing them will think they ran through the door. You understand? That's a very smart thing to do. They do it to self-protect. And so it can be a very selfish type of thinking because it puts you at the center. It puts you at the center. And that's why you see a lot of criminals are smart thinkers. A lot of people that swindle are smart thinkers. A lot of pickpockets are smart thinkers. They are very quick, but they want to get. They want to get and self-preserve, so they use it for themselves a lot. That's the problem with smart thinking. It is not big enough to help people. So it doesn't really have a lot of impact on a society. So when you have a society with a lot of smart people, there's a lot of crime. You understand? There's a lot of crime. There isn't a lot of development because it doesn't do a lot to embrace people. It's very self-protective, very self-preservative. That's the problem with being smart. Now, the second level of thinking or second category of thinkers are brilliant people. Now, brilliant people, I call them educated thinkers, schooled thinkers. So to be a brilliant person, you must go through some form of schooling. You cannot be brilliant without schooling. Schooling is what certifies you to be brilliant. So it's very academic. These are people that have gone to learn something and have been shown to be exemplary at it. So a brilliant person is that person who, when you were in school, you were having prize giving day, they were always getting the prize. They got a lot of the prizes. They got, out of all the 12 prizes for 12 subjects, they got 10 or 11 or all 12. They're brilliant. Because when you teach them, they retain. They're able to retain and they're able to regurgitate. They are brilliant at it. They're able to retain and express. So they might go beyond regurgitating. They can express in that subject matter for which they have been schooled. That's a brilliant person. Brilliant people are very academic. They're academic people. We all know them. We've all gone to school with them. You just can't hold a candle to them when it comes to being first or being the best academically. So you might have a smart person in class that answers the questions fastest, that finishes the exam fastest, but he can never outshine that brilliant person in who the school will award as the best student. So they are brilliant. The problem with brilliant people, and that's the shortcoming of being brilliant, is It can be a kind of thinking that only has regard for equally brilliant people. So when you see brilliant people, their biggest shortcoming is they always want to be amongst other brilliant people. They would not respect you if you do not have anything to show as a brilliant person yourself. So they judge people and life by how brilliant and how acclaimed you are in whatever field you find yourself. So the association are always amongst brilliant people. In fact, brilliant people, what they try to do is form an association that is for them. So they form clubs and societies for people that they consider brilliant. So if you want to get into that society, you must have a first class. You must be a professor. You want to get into this club, you must have something to show that you are brilliant. They love the association of other brilliant people, and they will only respect you if you can prove to be more brilliant than they are. As a matter of fact, if you can prove that you have more accreditation and you can prove that you are the best and you have more certificates than they do, more qualifications, they do not mind subjecting themselves to you as servants. They look at you as a god. The shortcoming is this kind of thinking only wants to associate with its own. It doesn't have space. In fact, there's a disdain for people that are not in that category. So there's some pride to it. And that's a shortcoming because brilliant people don't get to learn about other subject matters. So you take someone that is brilliant with maths, for instance, subject matter of maths, his identity becomes so deeply rooted in math. His association becomes with mathematicians that he doesn't know anything about music. He becomes totally clueless about music. So when you take them out of that environment, they can't apply themselves too much in other environments that they have not been schooled in. That's the biggest shortcoming of brilliant people. So they are brilliant, but then you find that they might be socially awkward. They don't know how to talk to the opposite sex. They don't know how to socialize. They don't know how to play sports. Those kind of things, because they have caged their lives to this category for which they have been proven to be the best. Now, the third level of thinking are people I call knowledgeable people. Knowledgeable people. Now, I call these people exposed thinkers. Now, the thing about knowledgeable people is they know because of their vast experience. A lot of knowledgeable people have vast experience. It might be vast experience in travel, vast experience in reading books, but they have a vast amount of knowledge based on their appetite to explore. Now, with these people, they're always very interesting people to talk to. You love talking to them. And as a matter of fact, they love being the center of attraction in every conversation. They're able to talk about, this book that I read, or this occurrence that happened in this year. So they tell you, this what happened in 1978 in Italy. This book that I read by this author. Or when I traveled to this place, as I saw this kind of architecture. They're very enthralling to have a conversation with. It's very interesting to have a conversation with knowledgeable people. So they have a vast library. They are well-traveled, and they know about life because of this. The shortcoming of knowledgeable people is the need to prove. So a knowledgeable person always wants you to know that they have read a book, or they have read more books than you. They always want you to know that they are better traveled than you are. That's the burden of knowledge. People don't have knowledge and want to keep it. A lot of people want to let you know that they have that knowledge. So, as I said, sometimes they might be the loudest person in the room. A knowledgeable person might be the loudest person in the room, that person that never keeps quiet and always wants to talk over you in the conversation. The issue with this is there's also, like brilliant people, an irritation with people that don't know as much. So they're irritated that they've read 50 books and you read only one that year. So they always try to propagate that life of knowledge and like travel more, read more. You need to read more. You're limiting your life by not doing this. They're always irritated by people that don't seem to be taking advantage of the knowledge that is accessible to them. So as interesting as they are to have a conversation with, they are very irritable. And you might also find them as people that do not want to be argued with. They don't like losing an argument. They don't like people challenging their thoughts or challenging their knowledge. They don't like that. They don't like that because they feel they've invested a lot of time in reading and in traveling and in acquiring this knowledge. So they can be very flippant. They can be very insulting when that knowledge is challenged. And you get to see a lot of people on social media like this. You love their content. When they talk about politics and they talk about current affairs, you love listening to them. They can enthrall you for an hour. But just try typing a comment and just saying, I don't agree with what you said here. And you see a beast come out of this person. And the person will go on like a roll insulting and talking about how much you don't know and how unschooled you are. Knowledgeable people don't mind going out of their way to investigate your background to let you know that you don't know as much as they are. So it's a kind of thinking that puffs itself up. It puffs itself up, and it brings about a lot of pride. That's the biggest danger of being a knowledgeable thinker. Now, the fourth, and this is the highest level of acquired knowledge, and these are the thinkers I call intelligent people. Now, intelligent people are critical thinkers. They are deep thinkers. And they go way beyond smarts or brilliance or knowledge. They are very introspective. They spend a lot of time in their mind, and they do the work of grinding out whether something is fact or something should be dismissed. They end up being very creative people because they are the kind of people that would do the thinking on their own and think of a new way of doing something. Intelligent people are analytical in their thinking. They go back and check facts and figures and statistics, and they're highly logical. Intelligent people might not be very emotional. They're able to get beyond that stage where they do not let their emotions cloud their judgment. So unlike knowledgeable people, an intelligent person, once they find the answer is good enough for them. They're able to live on. They don't need to propagate it like knowledgeable people. They don't need to be loud. They just need to know that they know the truth. And this itself might be the shortcoming of intelligent people. The fact that they are so in their mind. A lot of intelligent people are overlooked. You find them working in organizations and they do not rise up the ranks the way they should, or are given the credit that they should be, because they do not usually speak up. The knowledgeable people speak up and they rise up the rank very easily. The intelligent people are critical. And remember, they are not thinking because they want to impress you. They are thinking because they want to solve the problem for themselves and be sure whether it is true or not. That's a shortcoming of intelligent people. They are not very vocal. A lot of them are not very vocal. They do so much thinking in their head that it drains them of even expressing in the physical. But a lot of times when you get close enough to them to ask their opinion, you'll be surprised about how deep and how critical and how well-rounded their opinion is. It's almost impossible to argue with an intelligent person, not because they will outspeak you or outshout you or bullying you into their opinion. It's because they can clearly state and back everything that they think with facts, figures, statistics. It's an incredible way of thinking. It's the highest way of thinking naturally. It's the highest way. However, the strength of intelligent thinking or intelligent people is also their weakness. The strength that they look for facts, statistics, that they look for figures, and they are very logical, is their biggest weakness. And I say this because when somebody is intelligent, then you have to prove them wrong. So they're like telling you, prove it to me. Show me facts. Show me statistics. Appeal to my intellect, to my logical thinking. If you cannot show facts and statistics, then they do not believe. And I say this is a weakness because that doesn't allow a lot of intelligent people to venture into spirituality. And that's why it's hard for a lot of them to believe God to an extent. They get irritated by spiritual talk that is baseless, that has no statistical value to it, that has never been done before. So it's very hard to have spiritual conversation, and most intelligent people will tune you off once you enter a discussion that has spiritual undertones or a spiritual foundation to it. They will simply just tune you off and disregard what you're saying because there's nothing to which they can anchor it to. So it's very hard to have a spiritual conversation, and that in itself is the biggest trip off of an intelligent person. And that's why when the Bible says that those with earthly wisdom find things of God foolishness, and that was Paul saying, he talked about the Greek. The Greek were very intelligent people, intelligent thinkers, but they found the concept of spirituality and godly spirituality is foolishness. When he says someone raised himself from the dead, that doesn't make sense to them. It's not possible. No matter how deeply you think about it, it can't happen. So they dismiss it and they miss out on a lot of true knowledge because of this. And this leads me to the fifth type of thinking, the fifth level of thinking, which is wisdom, the wise thinkers. And these are discerning thinkers. This is the only type of thinking that is inspired. It is not acquired. It's the kind of thinking that you are entrusted with. It comes to you. Sometimes it's not logical. Sometimes it has no statistics to back it. Sometimes it's not eloquent. But it is true. It is always true. Wisdom is on a different level, because wisdom is always spiritual. The interesting thing about wisdom is that it's offered to everybody. All you need to do is ask for it. But a lot of people don't ask for it. We seek to be smart, to be brilliant, to be knowledgeable, and to be intelligent. But they all have pitfalls and they never fulfill you. Wisdom is God's language. It's discernment. It's the ability to be able to look at something and to be able to say, this is good and this is bad. And sometimes you cannot say why, but you just have a feeling. It's an inspiration. Sometimes and that's when people tell you, oh, prove to me, tell me why. You see, a wise person, a lot of times, might not win an argument because words are physical. Words are relatable. They are not spiritual in the actual sense of it. Feelings, inklings, inspiration is spiritual. And sometimes that's what that gentle whisper in your ear, don't go there, don't do this, don't employ that, don't invest in this, and you cannot articulate it. That in itself is where wisdom is a mystery. That is where discernment is a mystery. And that's why you find some people who were never intelligent in school, never smart, never brilliant, never known as knowledgeable. They've not read a lot of books, but you hear them address a crowd and you're like, what book did you read? And I tell you, I didn't read any book. What school did you go to? I never went to school. My family was too poor to send me to school. I dropped out of school. And I'm like, where did you get this knowledge from? And they cannot explain. That is the mystery of wisdom. Wisdom is mysterious. And that's the problem a lot of people have with it. But I'll have you know, wisdom is the highest level of thinking. The highest level of thinking. In fact, I have a problem calling it thinking, because thinking makes me feel like if you've done some work. Wisdom doesn't have to do with how much work you give your brain to do or how you analyze. It has to do with what is revealed to you. So there's part of the Bible that always strikes me. When Jesus was addressing his disciples, and he asked them, who do people say I am? And a lot of people would say, oh, you say you're a prophet. People say you're Elijah. People said all manner of things. And Peter said something. Peter said, you are Son of God, you are the Messiah. And Jesus knew at that point in time that it wasn't Peter talking. It was revealed to Peter. There's no way Peter should have known that. It was entrusted to him. It was a channel at that point to saying what he said. Because right after that, Peter went back to saying some things that were just purely Peter talking and not really making a lot of sense. But for that moment, Peter became a channel of wisdom. Wisdom is revelation. It's beyond fact, it's beyond logic, it's beyond education, it's beyond books, it's beyond travel. It has to do with your connection to the spiritual and your ability to trust the spiritual and God to reveal to you deep things that you can never figure out on your own, and to trust what it's telling you. And that's the true level of thinking that our Creator would like us all to adopt. So as you listen to this class, I want you to analyze yourself. Are you a smart thinker? Are you a brilliant person? Are you a knowledgeable person? Are you an intelligent person? That's good. But with all these things, the quest and the mission is to transcend them and to move to a level of thinking that is spiritual, that is deeper, and that is higher. And I hope this helps someone find some kind of clarity. You see, when I put up this post, a lot of people asked me, can I be all five? Yes, you can be all five. You can experience all five at different stages in your life. But there's a core one which you tend towards. But what I would like to say is, what you want to do is have a very loose hold on the first four and experience more of the fifth type of thinking. And I dare to say you'll find more fulfillment, more impact. Your words, your advice would be stronger. Your empathy, your humility would grow. If you could just allow yourself experience the fifth level, which is wisdom. And you realize that you wouldn't have any desire to be smart or be brilliant or be knowledgeable or be intelligent. You will be satisfied and happy in a place of wisdom.